Hello and welcome. I'm Keegan Hirst and this is the Hirst Locker, the podcast for men who want to build an incredible body, a rock-solid mindset and unstoppable confidence. It's for men who want to live life on their terms and live it to their full potential. I've helped hundreds of men transform their lives, giving them the knowledge, the tools and the self-belief to help them smash through the glass ceiling that stopped them from achieving their dreams. And I want to do the same for you. Now we're going to focus on physical, mental and emotional health, things that affect us as gay men so that we can live life on our terms, build the body that we want and feel confident living that life. I'm going to help you cut through the noise and confusion to give you the confidence and clarity to take action and build the best version of yourself, to give you complete control of your body, your mindset, your habits and ultimately your life. So let's get to it. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Hirst Locker with me, Keegan Hirst. This week I want to talk to you about expectations. This is a massive stumbling block for so many people. And my job as a coach is to manage people's expectations. So I want to talk about how expectations are actually ruining your life because we can often set unrealistic expectations. And when we don't meet our expectations, that's when we start to feel unfulfilled and really frustrated. So let's first talk about what an expectation is. How do we know what is possible? Okay, there's a few ways. Experience from doing it ourselves. And this can be a good thing or a bad thing. Think about if you've ever, the first time I went on a Bandit, a gambling machine, I actually won the jackpot on it. So I thought it was really easy. And so my expectation was that every time I went on one of those, I was going to win. I soon realized that I was wrong. But experience can be a massive thing when it comes to expectations. Knowledge, how much we know, like if we studied on something, maybe we haven't experienced things firsthand, but we can make an educated guess around where things are going to be based on our knowledge. Whether that's from studying at school, a course, even things online, seeing people's experiences with it. Although, as we know with social media, we shouldn't necessarily trust everything that everybody says. Or a mentor, having someone, whether that's a friend, family, coach, someone who you've paid, teacher, whatever it might be, they can kind of tell you, this is what's going to happen, this is why. And again, that comes from their experience, but they're passing it down to you. So that's how we formulate our expectations. And if we don't know what's possible to achieve, it's really easy for us to create unrealistic expectations. I see it all the time as a coach. I will get clients who will come in and they will say they'll be, 80 kilos, and they'll say, I want to lose 10 kilos in a month or 2 months. And I'll say, that's A, not realistic, and B, it's really unhealthy if you go about it. And there are lots of areas that we do that. And tying that in with social media really contributes to that. What a relationship should look like, what a physique should look like, what our bank balance should look like, how much we should travel, what our relationship with our friends should look like, how often we should be seeing people. Social media has a lot to answer for when it comes to unrealistic expectations. Now, high expectations are not always a bad thing. And you might say that having high expectations forces us to succeed, forces us to achieve, forces us to be better. And it's having high expectations of myself has certainly allowed me to excel in certain areas of my life. I've been a professional athlete, I run a successful business, and it's because I don't settle for shit standards. I have high standards and I expect things to be done right, done properly. But it's also come at a cost, in the past, whether that has been quality time with other people, whether it's been my own mental health. There has been lots of things that success has cost me. And in theory, having high expectations that force us to achieve, force us to do well, are great, yeah? But as a gay man myself who works with gay men, I know just how consistently we overachieve. All right. And we are a community who consistently overachieves in work, finances, other areas of our lives, maybe making up for something, feeling that we have to do that. I'm not going to go into that part of it now, but we do. There is no doubt that as gay men, we consistently overachieve in certain areas. And yet, we are at a higher risk of suicide than our straight counterparts. Gay men's mental health is consistently recorded as being poorer than straight men's. Survey after survey after survey shows that. So it goes to show that overachieving isn't actually fixing anything. In fact, it's compounding the problem caused by our expectations not being in line with our reality. I'm just going to say that again. Our expectations not being in line with reality is what causes really poor mental health. That is it. When depression is not a chemical imbalance in our brain, when it is a mental state, it is that our expectations of how we think that life should be do not marry up with how life is. So our expectations versus our living conditions. And this is the thing that we have. When our expectations are really high, that work should be amazing and I should love my job all the time. My partner should be amazing. We should always like each other and everything should go swimmingly. My sex life should be amazing. My bank balance should be amazing. Everything should be amazing. These expectations that we have that, again, are compounded by social media, when they're really high, but objectively our living conditions might be good, but they're not super on a super level like our expectations. This gap that we have between our high expectations and our living conditions is what causes that sense of frustration, that sense of disappointment, that sense of feeling disillusioned, unfulfilled, that you could do better, that you should be doing better. And should is a really, really toxic word when it comes to expectations, because should implies that everything should be fixed up and everything should be in a place where it isn't. And that's where we get into these negative thought patterns. That's where we get into these cycles and spirals of this is shit, this is shit, this is shit. And we conflate one area that's not in line with where we think it should be into the rest of our lives, and we amalgamate all our problems into one, and this is where we go, life's shit, everything's shit. And these are unfair, I can't remember the word. Unsubstantiated. That was the word I was looking for. Unsubstantiated expectations. Because in a lot of areas, we have no right to set our expectations so high. And think about this for why expectations are where they are at the minute, why people's mental health is poorer than it's ever been, and the rise of social media. So let's just take one example when it comes to your physique. Say that you go to the gym and you look pretty good, right? Before social media, or before the internet even, maybe even with the internet, but without social media, you would be in decent nick. You might see somebody at the gym who's in decent nick, but you would feel pretty good about yourself because you look after yourself, and compared to where you were, you look good. So your expectation is actually probably in line with where you are. Boom, that's a good thing. Expectations and reality in line equals happy camper. Now with the rise of social media, you go to the gym, you work hard, you get a decent physique, but then you go on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is and you see somebody who's absolutely shredded to death, looks incredible, and it completely sets an unrealistic expectation of that is what I'm supposed to look like. That is how I should be, and it completely undermines all the efforts that I've done. And this is why it's so important to manage your input. The things that you are watching, the things that you are looking at on social media really matter. You should be auditing. And if it makes you feel shit, if your social media makes you feel shit, then it's damaging your mental health. It's making your expectations unrealistic. And ultimately, it's impacting the quality of your life. That is how big this is. This is such a big deal. Yeah. The thing is that we should always remember as well is that expectations change and move a lot faster than reality. So I see this with clients all the time. They achieve something amazing. Maybe we set them a 90-day goal to lose 10% of the body weight. This is something that we often do with fat loss clients who come in, and that's the promise that we have. We'll have 10% body weight off you in 90 days. It's realistic, it's sustainable, it's achievable, it's doable. We get a lot of buy-in. I've never had a client who hasn't achieved it. And they get in, they do it, and then they go, right, now I want to get massive and build loads of muscle. And it's, rather than celebrating where they are and just going, right, I'm here, I've achieved this goal, I'm going to celebrate a little while and just enjoy it. It's on to the next thing. And so their reality, they've set an expectation, their reality has caught up with it, but as soon as their reality catches up with it, they move their expectation and then they're behind again. And once again, our reality and our expectation are not in line. And we want our expectation to be a little bit in front of our reality. But we don't want it to be so far that it seems unsustainable, unattainable. Because again, that's when we get that sense of it's too much, we get overwhelmed. And when our expectation is not high enough, that's when we feel underwhelmed and we don't move forward because we don't see the point in doing it. So it's this Goldilocks theory that it's got to be just right. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. So how can we overcome unrealistic expectations? Okay, there's 5 things that we can do. Number 1 is that we want to have and look at data. What gets measured gets managed. So realistically, we can set our expectations from data. Just taking an example of somebody, let's say building muscle, getting stronger, we can monitor metrics, so how much they weigh, measurements, arms, chest, legs. We can take photos so that we can compare side by side. We can track strength so that we can see that they are getting stronger, so that really they can then manage an expectation. If they say, oh, I'm getting stronger, a pound a lift every session, then, or every week, then in 10 weeks, I'm going to be 10 pounds more than I'm lifting now. That might not transpire 100% like that, but it can give us a lot more realistic expectation of just plucking a number out of our ass and saying, oh, I'm going to be this much stronger in this many weeks. What data is really important. As well, we can rate things, how difficult we find something. So, we might do a little test with someone. How fast can they row 1,000 meters? And how difficult did that feel to get that? And then we can say, right, we do a little bit of work with them. In 4 weeks, we want you to do that again. We want you to get the same speed. We want you to get the same distance. How difficult was that? And then they can see that things change. They can see that they're improving. And so going back to what I said at the beginning, how do we set expectations? It's by experience and it's by knowledge. So having that data gives us the experience of doing the thing that gave us the data, but it also gives us the knowledge in and around this is the trend between the numbers over time. And so we can then manage, estimate, create better, more reasonable, manageable expectations. So that's number 1, data. Number 2, journaling. This is something that I am a really, really big fan of. I really try to get a lot of clients on board with this. And listen, this is not where you have to be Anne Frank and write, Dear diary, so-and-so was nasty to me at work. It's about asking yourself specific questions so that you can manage, you can, again, look at where you are now to where you were so that you can project an expectation. So it's things like, am I having the same problems as I was having 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago? No, but what were my problems? What are they now? How much have I grown? Where am I? What's my biggest challenge at the minute? What was my biggest challenge then? How can I have it? And then that way you can, again, it's starting to build a picture, because data will give you an objective truth. This happened, like, again, I've said this before, what can't speak can't lie. The data is there, but the journaling side of things, if the data is the skeleton, the journaling is the fleshing out of what the impact of those numbers have been. And that gives you much more of a complete look, a complete outlook of where you are, where you want to be, and where you're going. So that, again, you can realign and reset those expectations. Number 3 is in the similar vein to number 2, is taking some perspective. As I said there, where people will reach a goal and then set another one, and then they go on and they get stuck in this, essentially what we would call in rugby being stuck in the tumble dryer, where you just don't have time to think and you're constantly on the go and there's all sorts of things going on. You just round and round and round you go. So taking a step back, you've achieved a goal. Okay, taking a step back. What did it take to achieve it? Could I have done certain things better? How did I feel before? How do I feel now? And just taking an objective look. Well, because what I'll often get is I'll get clients who come to me and they'll say, I haven't made any progress in the last 2 weeks. I'm exactly where I was. And they feel really shit because their goal might be to build muscle, or it might be to lose fat, or whatever it might be. And then I say, right, well, let's have a look at what's gone on. Let's take an objective look. You've moved house over the last 2 weeks. You've had a project on at work that has been taken priority, and we've needed to do that. You've still completed all your sessions. You've still, you might not have been as accurate with food, but you've still made better choices, and you're exactly the same now as you were 2 weeks ago, even though you've had all that stress on. Is that a good thing? Yeah, that is a good thing. I never looked at it like that. So again, you're realigning those expectations, and to be able to do that, you need distance. Distance creates perspective. So sometimes just taking your head out of the tumble dryer where you've been, life is always bombarding us with things. So to be able to take a step back and have a look at things from an objective perspective. Number 4, a really good way to be able to do that is to do an audit. Something that I do with clients regularly is get them to take an audit in different areas of your life, whether that's, when we do it in the coaching program, it's to do with food, it's to do with training, it's to do with lifestyle, it's to do with organization, it's to do with mindset. But you can do that kind of thing as well. There's plenty of things online. I might even put up our audit that we do to see if you are doing things. And it gives you data. Do I have a set bedtime? Do I go to the gym regularly? Do I drink? How many times a week do I drink? Just little insights into your own life, so that if you are drinking 4 times a week, you're eating out 5 times a week, you're paying no attention to your food, and you just eat whatever is put in front of you, and then you're complaining that you're not losing weight, that's an unrealistic expectation. But sometimes we're so caught up in life that we don't see that we're doing all that. So to do that kind of audit where you take a step back and say, oh, I didn't realize I was drinking that much. I didn't realize I was eating so much crap food. I didn't realize I was spending so much money on eating out. That audit, again, it gives you data. Remember those 3 things that we need to help us manage our expectations: data, knowledge, and experience. Yeah, those are the things that are going to allow us to continually create realistic expectations. And that is the thing. Realistic expectations is important. And the last thing, obviously I would say this, but I don't necessarily mean me, but having guidance from a coach or a mentor or someone with experience. It doesn't have to be someone you pay to do it. I mean, obviously, if you pay someone, then you expect for them to really take a handle in helping you and managing your expectations. But always, this is the thing when often people get advice which creates unrealistic expectations from people who are not qualified to give it. Family members who don't have any money, and then you ask them about financial, advice, and they're going to tell you, oh, you should have done this and you should have done that, and then you're going to feel bad and you're going to create these unrealistic expectations. When it comes to health and fitness, taking advice from someone who's never trained, doesn't know anything, they might watch a few, they might subscribe to Men's Health or something, but unless someone has got experience of achieving the thing that you want to achieve, do not listen to them. Only take advice from people that are qualified to give you it, because they can help you manage your expectations. I am 2 things as a coach. I am an expectation manager and a problem solver. That's all I do for people. And I do that because I have a very vast experience of doing that. I have knowledge in areas that they don't. Just like when you go to a mechanic, they have knowledge in a car, in areas of fixing a car that you don't. You don't ask YouTube how to do it. You don't Google it. You don't ask John down the street unless he's a mechanic. Yeah, going to someone who's got experience of doing the thing that you want to do is really going to help you manage your expectations. So there's 5 things that you can do. If you find that you are constantly thinking, I should, if you use the word should a lot in your own self-talk, it means that your expectations are out of whack. I should be doing this, I should be doing that. If it's constantly in there, it really is time to reevaluate your expectations and see if they're realistic. And if you don't know, go through the points there that I've spoken to, and if you still can't figure it out, go to somebody with some experience, because unrealistic expectations are a massive contributor to the state of people's mental health. And people's mental health right now, with everything that's going on in the world, is not great. And so making sure that we manage our expectations is more important now than ever. So if this has helped you, please share it. Please, comment below if you've got any questions, if there's anything that you need, anything that I can help with. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to know if this helped you. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week on the Hirst Locker.